a blessing to everybody this morning. Top of the morning. I'm just sitting here looking at all of your goals and just super pumped up. I'm excited. Champions are made in the fourth quarter. Championships are won in the fourth quarter. And I am extremely expectant that this fourth quarter is going to make up for the entire year. Does anybody else agree to that? And from the looks of it and from your comments, I see that you guys are all in agreement. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Like Katie Ann said, my name is Pam Pacheco, and I'm just excited, grateful, blessed to be here with you guys today. I remember when I got started almost 7 years ago on my journey on entrepreneurship, that I was looking forward to these type of calls in the morning, because not only was I looking forward to the impact that it was going to have in my business and in my leadership, but I was looking forward to the impact that it was having in my life, because it completely changed me from the inside out. It has made me a better woman, a better leader, a better daughter, a better friend, a better communicator, just better in every area. But most importantly, these calls, it set the tone for the day. See, I understand that garbage in is garbage out. Greatness in is greatness out. And I used to look forward to these calls because I knew what I was expecting. I knew that it was going to fuel my day with some positivity and set the tone for what it was that I wanted for the rest of the day. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker. I've had the honor, pleasure, and privilege of being around this man and getting to know him and his wife and his beautiful son. And they're just rock stars. They're just rock stars, man, incredible human beings. Have a background in promotion. He went from being underpaid and overworked to completely living a different lifestyle today. He is a marketing director. Him and his wife live an incredible lifestyle now, currently residing in Orlando, Florida, with their beautiful son Josiah. Just incredible leaders. Part of the AON family, TNS family, Richful Thinking, have completely been able to impact leaders around the globe, right? And man, he's just a rock star. I'm excited. He's a 100K lifetime earner with our concept as well. Originally from New York City, Mr. Noel Laporte, are you on the line, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Pam. Thank you. Thank you for that
Welcome.
introduction. Appreciate you. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me on
Yes,
that
I
end?
can hear you. We can see you. We can feel the energy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Top of the morning.
Yes, great morning. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor, my pleasure. And caught me off guard when you did give me the call. But again, always prepared. So and you as our sister and everything you do for the company and your leadership and our friendship, can't say no to you, Pam, at all. So thank you again for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely love you. And it's funny because since we had RTE back, the first RTE that we had in March, when your name came up, I've been getting requests to have you on the call, to have you on the call, to have you on the call. And you know, sometimes I just get monkey mind and my mind's all over the place. So I'm glad we made it happen. I'm
Yes.
glad we made it happen because you've been highly requested. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, right? Tell them where you were at when you saw WV, when you engaged on entrepreneurship. Take them into your story. Take them into your background a little bit.
All right, awesome. So thank you. So once again, great morning, everybody. Hope that everybody's having a great day so far. And yeah, I'll get into a little bit of my story. I'm sure that we do have a little more time today. So I'm gonna get a little bit deeper into the story. A lot of times that most people don't get to hear about or hear further into it. But again, I've been part of World Ventures now for the last 6 years. And my wife and I got started when we was 27 years old. And prior to that, if I can rewind and go back a bit, I just want you guys to know who I was prior to the company, my upbringing, how I was raised and whatnot. And growing up, obviously, one thing I was raised by single mother, a single mother of three boys growing up in Brooklyn, New York. And, one thing that growing up that I learned from, say, my father and whatnot, for most of you that may not know, for instance, my mother and father, for instance, they was married until about 7 years old. So I was about 7 years old, got divorced, and that's when I was raised by a single mom. My father was always there, great father, but just, I guess, bad in relationships and whatnot, right? But the thing is that my father is actually in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So growing up, that's all I seen him do, watching his boxing fights, watching his matches, going to the gym with him, you know, him, my brothers and whatnot. And, you know, growing up, I always wanted to be something and somebody. Boxing wasn't for me. My brother took that path and, you know, he turned professional as well. But boxing, it just wasn't my path. You know, I did it as a child with my father, going to the gym and played sports. But being that I've always seen my father as a champion, the champ of the world, and how everybody loved, respected him, and the man that he was, that was something that I wanted to do as well. And it wasn't, like I said, in the boxing field, but I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to win also. And but growing up, you know, it was tough growing up in Brooklyn, making decisions and seeing my mom struggle. So, you know, by the time I was around 12 years old, see, my brother was doing all these junior Olympics, winning all these tournaments. I was playing sports, I was playing baseball, but again, I don't know if that was a passion of mine to do that forever and say, like, go professionally, right? So seeing my brother do what he was doing in the boxing world, I decided to do other things. And by the time I was 12 years old, I was already selling. I could be honest with you guys. So that's the good part here, that we can be honest with each other. It's not like I'm on a job interview and I can't write, you know, on my resume, the truth, right? That's the great thing about being your own business owner, being in a company like ours and with a founder like Wayne Nugent, right? So I can be honest and tell you guys, by the age of 12 years old, I was already making bad decisions. I was already doing things in the streets where I was making money that I should have not been doing. I was 12 years old, going to school with guns and being around the wrong people, you know, at a very young age. I look at my son now, that's 8 years old, and I'm blessed because of this company, because I laugh with my wife today, and I realized that growing up in the 80s and 90s, we grew up around the wrong things, watching movies like Scarface, Casino, and Heat, and these scary, and I'm like, my son is 8, and he doesn't watch any of those things, and it just all goes around this culture or the environment that you grew up in, right? So at 12 years old, that was normal to us. You know, 13 years old, that was normal to do, right? Because of who we were surrounded with. So that was my life at the time. And by the time I was now 16 years old, me and my brother were facing 10 to 15 years in prison at the age of 16. So now my brother's already a two-time Golden Glove champion. You know, he's already in the boxing world. He's already have like contracts on the table. And especially because as good as he was, but the name, my father's name is Juan Laporte. He's the 3-time WBC champ of the world from Puerto Rico, and again in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So that went a long way, but that wasn't just my path. So we got into trouble, and at that age, at 16, that's where I was at. And by the grace of God, you know, we got into some type of program at that age, and I believe it was a setup because they felt that we would have gotten into trouble again because of our record and rap sheet and whatnot. And by the time I was 18, I was incarcerated again. So at 18 now, I'm on my 3rd felony, doing 3.5 years incarcerated. And again, I still didn't learn at that point. You know, I've made a lot of money at that time. Came home, and when I came home, I had no desire to change. I didn't have a desire to say, I'm going home and I'm going to walk away from the streets. I'm going home and I'm going to get a job. I'm going home and I'm never coming back. That wasn't never part of the plan, which is a messed up mentality to have, but that's just all that I knew, or all that I thought that I knew, right? So I came home at the age of about 21 years old, and I literally, the day that I came home, I went right back to the lifestyle that put me there. Now, was I stupid for making that decision? Some may have said yes, but to me, I thought I had a plan. To me, I figured that being in there gave me the time to become a better entrepreneur, in a sense, I would guess, right? And that was just the plan. It was always to be successful. It was always to take care of my family. It was always to make a lot of money, be wealthy. I just didn't know any other way to do it fast, right? Other than the way that I was doing already. So shortly after coming home, that's when I met my wife, Katrina. And when I met her in 2009, things really started to take a shift. And I meant a shift mentally. Was I still doing what I was doing? Yes. You know, did my wife know what I was doing? Absolutely. Did she support me? Yes, because I mean, in a relationship, that's usually what you do. You support your spouse or significant other, right? But as the years gone past, we ended up getting engaged. We got married, and we had Josiah. So now, even though I was a father, even though I was a husband, you know, I was still doing things that could have jeopardized my life and my freedom. So growing up, you think that you're doing things for others, you know, figuring, you know what, I'm making money so that we can have a lifestyle where we don't need, or, you know, I'm doing this for us. But quite frankly, you know, my wife and my son, they didn't need money. They didn't need income. They needed me. They needed me there. I needed to be there. That's what my son needed. That's what my wife needed. And me, as a man, as a father, and as a husband, that's what I should provide, right? So, but I didn't realize that. I started to realize more of that, obviously, in World Ventures, which I'm about to get into now. You see, so as time went, we're married, we have our son, money is being made, but I can feel that it wasn't going to continue to last. Something inside of me continued to tell me that you got to figure something out. Something has to change. So as we're brainstorming, at a time, you know, we came up with a clothing line, and that's where the brand and the name Rich Food Thinking came from. This was in 2012. So now I'm already looking for ways to get off the streets and start doing something different. I figured, you know what? Let's start a clothing line. Let's see where this can take us and whatnot. And we started that, and then it started to lead into more positivity and more into saying entrepreneurship in a legal manner, right? And this is how eventually we ran across World Ventures. And now, I mean, Pam, if you want me to continue from there on how I seen World Ventures and what started to
Go
happen
ahead.
after.
Go ahead. Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, so now this is around 2000, and let's say the end of 2013, where we didn't join World Ventures yet. But here's a quick bonus training for you guys, is that to say anybody on social media is a tool. Social media is something that you should use, right? I've never had social media until I joined World Ventures. Literally the next day is when my Facebook account was created. Like, so I've never was into it because I figured it's a waste of time. I don't, you know, it's not my thing. But when I got into business, I realized, okay, this may be something that I need because it's a worldwide connection, right? And I can't connect with the world from Brooklyn. So I needed social media. So what happened is JAON, National Marketing Director, which everybody knows, everybody loves, the leader of leaders, that is our mentor. That is my wife and I sponsor. So my wife, she's a director in the company, but she was sponsored by Jay, and I was sponsored by my wife the same day. But of course, we call him both our sponsor. So she was watching him on social media. This was about late 2013. And she's trying to show me. She's like, hey, you know, this is my friend from back in the day. And this was her best friend growing up. But because of us getting into a relationship, you know, just life happening, of course, she hasn't seen him in years, right? So we're doing our own thing. Everybody's growing and doing their own thing. So, but because of social media, she was able to stay connected. So she's seen him travel with his wife Ennis at the time, and he had 2 kids at that time, I believe. Yes. So he had 2 children, 2 daughters at that time. And they're on vacation almost every month. So one thing we weren't doing, yes, we were making money, but our mindset wasn't saying go travel the world, because we weren't surrounded by people that were saying, let's go travel the world, right? So we seen him doing that, but I wasn't interested because I didn't know what he was doing. She's like, look, he's traveling, this is that. And I was like, what does he do? She's like, I don't know. So if you don't know and I don't know, then what are we talking about here, right? What are you telling me this? Again, weeks pass by. Jay ends up pulling out a 5 Series BMW, and he had the sign and it said, you should be here and whatnot. And she's like, look, he got a free car from what he's doing. And at this point, she still can't tell me. So I'm like, look, I don't care. At that time, we was driving a brand new Benz. We, again, and as a man, as ego, as this is my wife, like, look, we're good. We don't need anybody else. I'm taking care of you. I'll be damned if we got to go to your friend for an opportunity, anything, right? So that was just my mindset. Not anything wrong against Jay. It was just that you're my wife. I'm going to take care of you, you know? So that was just it. And then she couldn't explain it. So one, I was never closed-minded. I'm not a closed-minded person. And So I am open to different things. So, but I just didn't know what it was. So now, again, now months pass. We're in 2014 now. Again, life starts to hit real hard at this time. A lot of things started to happen in my life that it was getting real close to like, something's got to give. I got to stop doing what I'm doing because I'm not going to last. I'm either going to go to jail for a very long time or something is going to happen because of everything that happened from January to March. What's funny is that my wife and I actually got baptized a couple of months prior to that. And when we did, this is where a shift is really started to happen without us really knowing it, without us understanding where it was coming from. So now March rolls around 2014. And again, she's reaching out. She's showing me Jay. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you reach out to him? Let's go see what he's doing. Let's go see what he's talking about. I ran into Jay a few times. I always asked him, Jay, look, my wife wants to know. I met him once before it. So I said, look, my wife, he was a party promoter. I seen him in a club. A club is not the place to talk business, especially over drinks, right? Jay did the right thing. Jay knew what he was doing. When he's promoted on social media, he promoted with class. He promoted clean. He promoted in a way that it made you attracted to his lifestyle, right? It wasn't like, it was like, hey, come join my team. No, it was just a lifestyle that he was living that made somebody else look and say, wow, that I would love to do that. What are you doing that you have that I don't when I'm working hard, right? Because that's where we were at that point. My wife was working hard. She was working her job. She was going to school. She was running her catering company. She was being a mom. She was being a wife and commuting between 4 boroughs in one day, every day for 5 years. It's working hard. You get me? And so we were searching. So I seen him in the club. He said, look, we can't talk about it now. You know, we'll talk soon. You know, give me a call. And then about 2 weeks passed again, seen him again and say, hey, look, again, he told me the same thing. He said, look, this ain't the time for it. You know, why don't you guys come over, we'll talk. One day, my wife and I was coming out of the gym. It was around 11 at night. We popped up at his house around 11:30, 12 a.m. on a Tuesday, March 25th. I remember like it was yesterday. Why? Because this is the day that my life changed. This is the day in history. You know, I look at this day like my wedding day, like the day my son was born, the day we joined World Ventures, right? That's how I look at that day. So we popped up at his house and we get there. My wife's birthday is April 1st. So she wanted to talk about partying. He's a party promoter, so bottle service sections and whatever, the stuff that we was doing in the past. Jay's whipping out the laptop. He's connected it to the TV. So we all knew what we were there for, right? We knew what we was coming for. He knew it. We knew it. And that's the great thing. And so he got the presentation going. Trina's like, all right, look, let's get down to it. What do you do? So he started to show us, man. And I'll tell you this, guys, it made complete sense, you know, because, again, it was something that I was looking for. It was something that I was praying for. It was something that was right up my alley. It was travel. It was an opportunity. It was business. It was sales. Whether I liked it or not, I was in sales my whole life. I just sold something that I couldn't because it was illegal, right? So when he showed me travel, I said, wait a minute, this is something that the whole world wants to do. This is something that the whole world needs. And I understand what supply and demand means. So if there's a high demand and you supply it and you got the best price, you win. So I said, wait, Jay, we can make $1 million a year doing this. There's people that's done this. He said, yes. Said, look, we're in. I laugh at him today because back then we had a $1,000 membership that was called, what was it called again at that time? Pam,
The luxury.
The luxury, right? So back then we joined that gold at $365. A couple of weeks later, I found out that we had a luxury package for $1,000. I told Jay, I said, why you didn't tell me about that one? I would have bought it. At that time, money was there. And again, I was sold, right? So that's how we ended up seeing World Ventures. And I mean, moving forward, I do want to get into the fact that we went into training. I want to get into training quick because we went into training within our first week. So I'll stop here.
That was so fire. And the only reason I want to cut it up really, really quick is because you said so many gems, right? And it was a lot of things that you said. And one of them that it stuck out to me from Jay, right? It's like, and somebody just commented this and said, Jared just commented this and says, if you live right, the right people will search you out, right? Like he was like, he knew what he was doing. And you were like, what you were saying, like his lifestyle was, it's social media, not social media, right? Like, he played it cool enough to let you know, like, listen, I know what I got my hands on. I'm gonna just let you see the lifestyle change, and it's like you were seeking, and because he wasn't so thirsty, like, to, oh my God, I gotta show you right now. It was like you guys wanted it more, right? You wanted it more. So that fear of loss and in him that he created in you guys, but also the certainty, right? And what he had his hands on. And I love that you said it, and I love your transparency, because it's, somebody says, I feel you, bro, male ego will still struggle with that all the time. It's like, we all struggle with that. We all struggle with it, right? But at what point are you going to be like, all right, you know what? I need to know what it is that's going on. Like, I want to know what you do. And like you said, like, man, you've completely changed the environment for your children's children. You know what I'm saying? Because of a decision that you made, and it's been beyond significant. And before we go into the training, like, and again, you could go in however you want. Talk about, so you went to your first training event, right? Your first training event. And you said you went to your first training event within your week. Talk to us about that. Like, how was that?
Yeah, for sure. So again, and this is obviously this what everything we're saying is for everybody, right? But again, for anybody that is new, right, brand new, whether it's weeks, months, whether it's a year, right, I would tell you guys, like, our first training event, again, we got started March 25th. The training event was April 6th in Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas was the training event. It was called United, which is an event that we have that is our national event where we fly into a state. That event, it was over 12,000 of us in that arena, people from around the world. But what led us to that event, what I want you guys to understand is that Jay, he promoted the event immediately. So right away, as soon as we joined, the next day, we knew about this training event. We knew that there was an event coming up in Dallas, Texas, what it costed, and what it was going to take to get to the top of this company. And it all was through the training event. So it was never a question whether we were going or not. Again, we was about to go party and spend money in a club for April 1st for her birthday. We always wanted to go to Texas. So we said, this is the perfect time. Instead of spending the money there, let's go have fun in Texas and let's go to this event. It just all made sense. So what led up to the training event was, I'm going to tell you guys as far as the business went, how it went for me in my first about 10 days or how many amount of days that was. Immediately, I knew that I wanted to win here. So I was looking to share this with everybody that I knew. So if you still haven't shared this information with everybody that you know yet, I don't think that you understand how big you can actually win here. Because anyone here, anybody that's on this call right now today, you can all go out there and reach any level that you desire. IMD, double IMD, 5-time, whatever it is that you want is going to take work, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, yes. But within my first 10 days or so, I showed over 70 people. We weren't doing Zooms. We weren't doing meetings online. Everything was face-to-face. Eric Grisbowski said, if they're within a 3-hour drive, you drive to them, you don't send them the video. So we were listening to the people that had the lifestyle that we wanted, right? So we were driving to people. We was packing out houses. We was packing out areas where we put it on the car, the laptop, and sharing with people. So we showed 70 people in about a 10-day span. And Pam, which you know the story, I'm sure most of you guys don't, right? But nobody signed up. One person signed up, and I don't count him. Why? Because he quit 5 hours later. So he didn't count. But 70 people, that would have gotten most people discouraged. That would have said, this doesn't work. But again, I didn't join this for the money. I didn't join this because I needed to make money now. You get me? And we had money there. We had money saved. It wasn't like I was pressed for income. This was long-term, and I understood that. So anybody that I showed and they didn't say yes, I looked at it like, you'll be back later. I'll show you. You'll see what I'm going to do. We had the BMW bonus at that time, right? So again, I knew I'm pulling out that BMW. I had a car at that time, but I said, I want a free one. I said, watch, I'm going to go and do this too. So this was all part of my plan and goals. So I had goals from the start. Once he showed me what I can accomplish, I made that a goal. Cool, that's a goal of mine. Cool, let me write that down. Why? He told me to write them down. I wrote it down. And I was coachable. I was teachable from the start. So guys, you got to understand this. Follow your mentorship. Follow your leadership. Be coachable. Be teachable. Never miss a training event, because again, they may sound right, like they're telling you what to do, but they're not. They're showing you what to do. Because quite frankly, we don't have to tell anybody to do anything. If they don't want to follow and listen, that's up to you. Thank God I was willing to follow and listen, because that's how we sit. That's how we got to the next level. So now, this training event completely changed my life. I went into that training with 0 signups. I showed all my family, all my friends, but I didn't care. So now it's Trina and I at this event. What's funny is when we went to that training event, I didn't know what to expect. Remember, we had a clothing line. I went to that training event with about 50 t-shirts. I'm thinking like big arena, people, network. I'm gonna go sell some t-shirts, right? Thinking small, right? But I didn't know. By the time I got to that training event, day 1 was over. I started giving t-shirts away, man. I'm like, I'm not selling t-shirts no more. Here. I was tired of walking around with the bag. I was like, yo, we already got the bag in Royal Ventures, so what am I still selling t-shirts for, right? But at that event is where I made the decision to walk away from the streets, literally at that event. So now I'm less than 2 weeks in the company. You know, I don't really know Jay like that. Remember, I know Marco AON. I've known him for over 15 years. Marketing director in the company, rock star, great leader. I mean, as you know him and anybody does, you guys see what he's been able to do. He's a trailblazer, you know, and but that wasn't always the Marco from back then. Business minded with the promotion company and all. But again, Marco was supposed to be the one who shared it with me. But then again, was he? No, because God understands what he's doing. You see, maybe he didn't end up showing me because it wasn't the right fit for me at that time, because he wasn't prepared yet. Today, could he have led me fresh off the streets right now, the Marco I know today? Yes. Back then, no, because we probably would have clashed. This is why he led me to Jay. Jay being a counselor, Jay being, you know, a yellow, more of the understanding. Jay's more of the listener, right? So he'll listen and give you what you need to hear. And to take a person that was fresh off the streets with everything that I did in my life and pair me with Jay and him to be able to tame that and point me in the right direction. So I give a lot of credit to what he's been able to do and me being willing to change. So at that event, hearing the stories, hearing the speakers, hearing the trainers, I don't even remember exactly what the trainers were saying. All I could tell you is how I felt. All I can tell you is that being in a room with over 12,000 people, coming from the background that I came from, you're around people that you like, I don't trust you, get away, go this way. I'm not dapping you, anything. I'm like, nah, like, Jay, I don't like him. Move him over. Like that type, I was still in that mode. You get me? And in that event, I didn't feel that way. At that event, I felt love. I felt energy. I felt like, wow, now this is different. Never been in a room like that before. So this is I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it, because I seen people walking stage for making 100,000 a year, for hitting regional marketing director, for hitting IMD. I don't know none of them. But every time Jay got up and he's cheering, guess what I did? I got up and I'm cheering, because he's like, that's my man that's up there. That's this person. That's this person. Well, if that's your man, that's my man too, because you're my mentor. You're my leader. You're showing me. So I know that you're going to point me in the right direction. I know that if they're a friend of yours, they're a friend of mine, because, wow, I trust you, right? So that's how it was. So this is, you know, so that feeling, again, I don't know what point or who was speaking or what it was at that time, but I'm just sitting there, me and Jay, we sitting at the top at the bleachers, right? And I'm just tearing. So I'm just looking straight ahead, and I'm just like, but tears are coming down, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is something that really is going to put me in a position to give me everything that I ever prayed for, dreamed of everything. So again, the reason why at that time I said, Jay and I had a talk that night. We talked to about maybe 4 in the morning. We had to get up at 6 for the training. But we're in the lobby of the hotel talking, and I'm telling him things that I shouldn't even probably even told him, right? But I just felt like I can trust him, and I felt like I had to let it go. You get me? And we're talking, and it's just like, yo, you know, and that's when I made that decision and say, yo, it's a wrap. When I go back, I'm not going back to the streets. I'm not going to the same environment, to the same lifestyle, to do the same things. Because I felt like this. I felt like literally God, this is just for me. I felt like God came down, like he said here, like he handed it to me. He said, this is what I'm giving you. Don't F this up. Don't F this up. You get me? I felt like this was a personal gift from God that said, here, this is for you. Don't drop the ball. I couldn't go back, because I'll be playing myself. I didn't want to put myself in that position. So at that training event is where, I mean, they say, right? People make big decisions at big events. I've never missed a training event. My wife has never missed a training event. And what I would tell you after that training event, how my business shifted. I went from showing 70 people in 10 days, no signups, to coming back on a Monday and signing up 17 people in 6 days. On the 7th day, hit the car bonus where I qualified for the BMW bonus, right? So all of that in a 7-day span. So to close out the month of April, made over $2,000 in my first, I would say then 2 to 3 weeks, right? But it was the feeling that I had inside. I understood that if somebody told me no to World Ventures, they were crazy. I looked at them like they had 3 heads. I said, "You, huh? Okay, cool. Next." You get me? I've really had that understanding now. And residual income started to come after and whatnot. I don't know if you want me to stop just from there as far as that training event went, but that's how it was for me. That was our first experience from family ships, right? Relationships, leadership. Yeah, sorry. There was a call that just came in. From leadership, just everything. I got it all in one shot on what this company had to offer, and I'm grateful to Jay and the training event for it.
So good. Like, oh my God. I'm just sitting here like, wow, 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 wow. And I love the transparency, right? But I love that people need to hear this. You understand what I'm saying? People need to hear this because, see, what I love about people's stories is that they're unique to your experience. Understand? They're unique to where you were at in life, to the feeling you were at. And like you said, that feeling is something that you can't explain, right? It's an inexplicable feeling, but it made you shift into action, right? And like you said, you know, God, you're like, yo, I felt God gave me this gift. I'm not gonna mess it up. Like he endowed me with this. He trusted me with this. Like this is sacred, right? And because you were in that space, and see, I'm going to be bold enough to say that not only were you in a space to ready to take action, but you were in a space that you expected it. You expected that. You're like, you know, I'm at this training event. I'm going to expect the blessing from this, because a lot of people can, you know, get into what we do or get into any type of business, and they're just doing it just to do it, whether they're going to do it just to, you know, please their significant other or please the person that shared it with them. But you were like, no, like this thing was personal for us. This thing is going to change my life. And I love that from the moment you were like, you know what, I'm going to be coachable. You get up and cheer. I'm going to get up and cheer, right? You're going to take notes. I'm going to take notes. You're going to do this. I'm going to do that, because we have to have that mentality, right? We have to have that coachability. We have to understand that when we hear people be like, if you're coachable and teachable, you'll be unstoppable. Like, no, it's not like it's real life. It's real life, right? And, you know, you said you put in, it was 17 personals in 6 days.
Yeah.
After that training event, like, my goodness. And if, let's say, right, let's say that you wouldn't have gone to that training event. I know, I don't even want to think about it, right? Can you even fathom where not only your business would be right now, but where your relationships and the family ships you've been able to build, and who you are as a person and as a husband and as a father? Like, would we know the Noel Laporte that we know today without you going to training?
100% no, because I have proof that backs that up. Because again, that training event that we went to, remember, this is April 2014. And it's crazy because that I made the decision to walk away from the streets. I had a phone at that time. I broke the phone so that it'll be easier to walk away. And I was supposed to pick up $4,700 up that Monday. And I left it. Didn't go back to get it, left it alone. I actually seen that same person probably like 2 years later, and he was like, yo, man, what's up? Like, I was like, don't worry about it. It's straight. I didn't want to touch it because I felt like it has some type of disease. Like, I didn't want to touch it. It was going to block my blessings more, right? But the proof that I have behind it is that a year after that event, this is now 2015, around the summertime or so, an article came out. I'm from Williamsburg, Brooklyn. That's where I'm from. And an article came out, and it was the biggest bust, the biggest heroin bust in Williamsburg, Brooklyn at that time. And when I'm reading the paper, check this out. The paper said that the investigation started March 2014. March 2014. And this is my crew. This is what we were doing. And I completely walked away from that. Now, when I looked at that, like, I literally knew, like, I have so many situations in my life where I prayed, like, at the spot, like, Lord, please, like, you get me? And he got me out of situations, you get me? And I strongly believe that. But at this time, again, I knew even more. March 2014, that investigation started. Those friends today are still doing over 10 years and 15 years, and they didn't even have records. I had 3 felonies. What you think would have happened to me if I would have continued to have that phone? And guess how they all got caught? The phones. What if I would have kept that phone for a month longer? What if I would have just said, let me just pick up this money or make a little bit more money? What if I would have said that? You get me? What if one phone call, one conversation, because that's all it would have took was one conversation. That's how conspiracy works, right? One phone call, one meetup. That one time I would have went to pick up that money, my life would not be here today. My son would be left without a father. My wife would be left without a husband. I'd be doing what I'd be in jail right now. Me, my mentality, though, I always say, I could build this from anywhere. I still would have been signing people up in there. I'd be like, yo, get them on the phone with my family back home, connect them and this and that. And I still would have been signing people up from in there. but in all reality, though, I would have not have been here today, because it's just proof that shows I would have been part of that same investigation. And I got to thank God, the company, and Jay, AON, and myself, my wife, and all of us for that decision that we made collectively. So to answer that question, Pam, you guys would not know. We would not know each other today. And that sucks. When I think about that, the relationships, the friendships, and the people that I've met throughout this process, that right there just shows, like, wow, forget about the money and the opportunity. I got friendships that I now have, that I look at, that we're going to be talking about this when we're 67 years old. Right. So yeah.
Wow. It's amazing, because, like, I thought I was the only one over here in chills, right? And I'm looking at the chat and everybody's like, I'm in chills, I got goosebumps. And, I love, again, the transparency, because a lot of times I tell people, like, this is beyond the business. Like, this is beyond a travel club. This is beyond you being able to go build schools around the world. It's beyond the fun. It's beyond the money. It's beyond all of that. It's really what it is that you want out of it that you can get, or what it is that you can utilize it to get whatever it is that you want out of life. And whoever it is that you want to become, it will help you become that person. Because, like, the success you've had, like you said, yeah, you're a marketing director, your wife's a director also, has probably about to be marketing director as well, 100K earner, fastest growing team, all of the outside, right? All of the beautiful stuff, the materialistic things, and the achievements that are tangible, right? But freedom your freedom was bigger. It's not like, it's crazy, right? Your freedom, like you said, like, God is too intentional to be coincidental. The fact that you got started, went to this event, you're like, you know what, I'm leaving the streets behind, I'm throwing away my phone. And then you look back, and then it's like, why you, again, like Steve Jobs always says, the dots always connect when you look back, right? And it's just like, man, like, God is so powerful, and it's just such a blessing. It's such a blessing, and such a blessing to have you here. Such a blessing to continue to see you lead and rise and continue. So talk to us about now, tell me, what has been one of your greatest experiences, right, in our lifestyle club, with your family, with your team. Talk about some of your greatest experiences here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And as far as experiences, it's funny because I love the training events more than dream trips. That's one. So a lot of the experiences do come from the events. The times of For instance, one time I was invited to Wayne Nugent's house, right? Outside of family experience, I got to give you this because this was in 2016, and that experience alone, I mean, it was one of the, it's easily top 3. You know, being able to spend the weekend with Wayne, and you know, Eddie Head, Mark Cassetta was there, and you know, the other IMD leaders, and you know, to be able to do that at Wayne Nugent's home, and just like every time I see him do Zooms and he's in the office with all the books and all that, I was in that room. He did the same exact thing. Like, this guy just grabbing books, reading books without reading them. Jay had the book in his hand, and Wayne Nugent is reading like chapters without Jay even showing him the book. I remember Jay like closed the book. He's like, that was word for word, like, you know. And those experiences, man, being around somebody that, you know, our company, you guys got to realize that we are like the Apple of travel. We are the Facebook of travel. Like, we've been through ups and downs, but just like every other company, guys got to be patient. We're 15 years in now. We're not even 20 years in. We're not 30 years in, 50 years in like the rest of these companies. We will be that legendary company, the Apple, the Facebook, you know, the Amazon, the Disney. That's who we are. And to be with Wayne Nugent, you know, the Steve Jobs of travel, the Walt Disney of travel, you know, the Jeff Bezos, this is how we look at him. This is how I look at him. And this is what I see him to be and what he's creating for us. You know, we've never had an opportunity to sit with Walt Disney or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or these creators that, you know, we didn't have that shot, or Elon Musk. We didn't have that chance yet, right? But again, you know, I see that we have the closest thing to it in Wayne, and to have that experience, to be able to learn from him, you know, and have conversation with him and whatnot, that right there was one of the best experiences that I've been able to have. You know, I didn't just get into that room by, you know, being liked. I got into that room by, you know, accomplishments and what I was able to work for to get there and deserved it. So that was a highlight experience for me. Another thing is just traveling with my family. You know, being able to take them to places and do things that they've never done before. You know, I've been on trips with my mother, my mother-in-law, my grandmother, you know, my brothers, my sister, you know, my friends, my wife, my son, you know, like that, to be able to do that, to be able to take them to places that they didn't even have to pay, that you put up, you know, and to bring my grandparents to Puerto Rico when they ain't been there in 20 years. And this is my wife's grandparents, but this is how I look at them. So these experiences, you know, to go from Mexico to Puerto Rico and then stay in Puerto Rico for 2 weeks and explore every inch of the island, you know, with our grandparents, and to bring them back to where they grew up and whatnot, and to see family they ain't seen in over 20 years. And when we pulled up, they squint and they like, Santa, is that you, Santa? You know, that's my grandmother. And like, you know, to see them cry, to see them, you know, that was like priceless. And I don't think people really get to something as small as that. It wasn't in Dubai. But it was Puerto Rico, and it was for something, for somebody. You get me? It was big to them. That's what they needed. And to see that, and for us to be able to fulfill that for them, it's priceless. It's priceless. And as we know, you know, Katrina's, you know, grandfather, he passed away 4 months after that trip. You know, 4 months after that trip. And, you know, a lot of the things that she says why she's at peace with it is because at least she was able to experience that time with him, because all he did was work. All he did was work for over 50 years to retire with what? A check? A senior rep or director residual check, right? Like after 50 years of working, imagine working World Ventures for 50 years and just doing one presentation a month. I'm sure you'll get further than retirement would. No knock towards a job or towards retirement, but we all know it's no, like, let's not sugarcoat it, right? And that's what we've seen. In those experiences are the priceless ones, because we're able to give somebody that that opportunity to dream again, to live again, and to understand that life goes on, that life is here, and life is here for you to live it. You know, and we don't got to wait till later. We don't got to wait until the time is right. We don't got to wait till our bank accounts are full. No, you can live life right now, live it in the moment, and be happy with what you have. Be grateful where you are, but never settle either. life is not about being grateful and settling. We can be grateful and still push forward. So those are some of the experiences that we had personally. I'm a person that I care less of myself and I care more for others, especially for my loved ones. So I would rather see everybody else, have a great time than myself. And I feel good when I get to watch that.
So good. So good. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing. What is something that you're like, you know what, this was a challenge as a leader, or as a, this was a challenge as a man. This was, what is something that you're like, I'm glad I overcame this when I did? What is something that you had to overcome on your entrepreneurship or leadership journey that you have not mentioned yet?
Okay, so overcoming. I would say I have like a tug and pull with this, right? And the tug and pull with it is that, at times, we have the color traits, we have red, yellow, blue, green. If you guys, I'm sure you guys know what the colors are, especially if you're on the 8 a.m. call, the Breakfast Club with Pam. Yeah, you guys are seasoned world venturers, right? But if you guys don't know, that's Mark Casetta. He our director of training. He has something called the Living in Full Color, which is a personality trait. So you guys can check that out to learn from what your color is or what your teammates are. But, I'm a red personality and whatnot, and really driven. And at times, especially in the beginning, at times I felt like I had a lot of fast success as well, being the person that I was and being driven and being, telling people what they needed to hear instead of telling people what they wanted to hear. And at times, I may have pushed people out of the business, and not purposely. You never want to do that. But, at times you may be, too rough around the edges for some. You may say some things, and even though it's the right thing, they say it's the wrong delivery, right? And, me, I'm so like, oh, well, why it has to be the wrong delivery? Why it was just the wrong way you heard it. So if I delivered it wrong, could it have been you heard it wrong, right? So it just can't be I'm wrong, you're right, right? So that was still the mentality. But, I would say that I'm glad that I got over the fact that I'm more understanding. You get me? I have more compassion and more, not sympathy but sympathize with others. I'm so with a point where I can just brush things off. Things don't bother me. I don't hold grudges. It's like whatever, like I can go and move forward. And everybody is not like that. And sometimes you expect it to be, but I'm just glad that I was able to build better relationships with teammates. Again, never a bad friend, never a bad leader, never a bad person. But again, I may say things in a way that a person doesn't want to hear, even though it's the truth. But when people hear the truth, what they say, right? People always want to hear the truth until it's something about them that they need to check. Never want to hear that. But I was always that person that felt like I had to tell them because that's just who I was. But I learned now from, of course, reading and audios and just studying and practicing and experience that I can deliver things better. I can, show them how much that we value them, right? Because again, one thing that I've learned from a book that I'm reading right now is, well, I just finished, called Atomic Habits, which I'm about to read again this month, is that when people are valued by their culture, right, they'll have many reasons to continue their effort. So when people are valued by their culture, they have many reasons to continue their effort. So again, if I may have shown somebody that because of my words or how I chose to maybe say things or lead or whatnot, that I may have pushed this person this way, right? I know that they could have been further because I could have showed that even if they did a little, or even if I did take their excuses, right, that maybe down the line I could have pushed them, or they could have pushed themselves to go further. But if they already felt maybe say outcasted or not part of the community or the team or the family anymore, just because of their mental space, because as we know, mentally you can check yourself out, and mentally you can feel like you're not part of the culture, like you're not part of the team, like you're not part of the family, just because you're not producing at the level you see fit. So you may think others are thinking that of you, but they're not. It's just in your head. So again, I take responsibility for some people that I've pushed out. But again, it's a very thin line between the fact that their desire levels, right? Because I look at it like this. I can never be pushed out of the business. Why? I don't care what anybody does or says, because this is my business. This is my opportunity. This is my blessing, right? You can't push me out of my house. You get what I'm saying? So my desire level was too high. You get me? But again, I still like to have a common ground where I say, okay, let me not be, say, arrogant or not. Let me not have an ego and feel like, no, I could have not done better. Because I always feel that we can do better. So some obstacles that I would say that I'm glad that I've gotten over is the relationships with people, you know, and understanding them a bit more and not just blaming everything on an excuse, right? Because at times we always say, right, we don't take excuses, no excuses, this and that. But life happens. And some people deal with things a lot differently than we all. And the reason why I known that is because I seen at times in my business where I may slow down a bit or something may have me not check out physically because you'll always be doing the work, the presentations, the reading, but it's almost like autopilot, right? You ever been in a position where you're doing the presentations, you're reading the books, you're watching the YouTubes, you're learning, but it's autopilot. It's almost become habit now, right? Because this is what you've been doing for so long, right? But now, you see, I realized that, hold on, excuse me. Yeah, so now I realized that I just lost my whole train of thought, but I'll get back to that right now. So it was just habit, but I put myself in a position where you're checked out, where you're not fully engaged. And I had to sit back, and maybe that happened to me because I needed to realize what other people are going through, what other people are feeling. So when I realized, like, holy shit, like, when you're checked out up here, it's not as easy to get back in the game so quick. Me, I can get back in quick, but what I realize is that if it took me some time to get back into it, imagine what it's going to take somebody else that may not have been as mentally strong as I am, right? So that's when I realized, like, damn, I gotta give people this type of this space to realize that it ain't always just an excuse. They'll find their time. They'll find their time to get over that hump. Let me just show them that I'm here, that I support them no matter what, and I'm there for them because I've been there. I'm not perfect, right? I'm not perfect. Yeah, we're Reds and whatnot, but again, sometimes as the Red, we feel like we're so strong, we're so committed, we're so this, we're so that, like we just can't be wrong in a sense, right? But you know, I realized that I needed that to happen to me first, so I can see like, oh wow, you know what? I need to understand people a bit more. So I just say the relationships and that aspect on how I got better in with people, and I built some of the strongest relationships over the last 2 years than I've done over the last 6 years that I've been in.
So good, so good. Again, I love the transparency because people need to hear this, right? And sometimes it's not only, you know, our teams need to hear it too, right? They need to hear that it's like, look, like we've made mistakes, and guess what? We're human. We're probably gonna f up a lot of more times, right? But being aware of that, right? And like you said, you know, knowing the things that you have to change, that's huge because I've been there, right? I've been there too, right? We've all been there. And if you haven't pissed people off in leadership, then you haven't really been in leadership, right? If you have not bumped heads with people, like, and again, everybody has a different leadership style, and it is so important for us to hear the real, understand me? Because it's like everybody sees, you know, the glitz and the glamour and the leadership and the success and the smiles and all of these things, but they don't understand, like, yo, it's a journey and we're still growing, right? Because we haven't arrived. And the moment you think you arrived, you're on the way back. But we're still growing. We're still evolving. We're still working on becoming the best versions of ourselves so that God can continue to use us so that we can serve other people. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. You're setting so many people free on here. You have no idea. So whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your heart that you want to leave us with, first, before you do that, I want you to talk about what is the next 6 to 12 months like look like for the Laportes. Talk to me about that. Where what does it look like for you? And it doesn't need to see, I don't necessarily, we don't necessarily need to know like, oh, what rank? No. Like,
Yeah.
what does it look like for you? Like, what is, you know, how are you ending off fourth quarter? Right? Champions, we started this. Champions are made in fourth quarter. You know, you and your wife are two of my favorite power couples. what is this fourth quarter? What does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you guys before? And then after that, you can say whatever you want on your heart.
All right,
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, so again, I'm glad that you did say, like, as far as like ranks or that type of thing, because again, like, I realized I've set, and not saying not to set these goals, because you should set all of these goals: small goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly, yearly, 10 years from now. You should have goals galore, right? All over the place. But yeah, I'm not gonna speak as far as rank goals. I know where I'm gonna be there, but I want to talk more about still internally, because, you know, when you fix internally, everything else just starts to work in your favor anyway. So I want to start there, and over the next 6 to 12 months. But I will say, like, especially over the last 30 days, I'll tell you this, it's been pretty much like the best month of this year for me, physically, mentally, in all aspects of just being a human being. The habits that I've created. Again, that book that I'm reading right now, phenomenal book, Atomic Habits. You know, we're reading it together. It's by James Clear. We're reading it together again as a team this month. I recommended it to everybody because, again, I don't recommend something I don't listen to or don't read or anything like it. So I read it and seen that it was perfect for a lot of people because it helped me. I just hope that it can help people even more. But over the last 30 days, I mean, physically where I've been, you know, mentally where I've been is at a space that I felt like I haven't been at before. You know, I'm at peace with where I'm at. I know where I'm going. And I think my next level over the next 6 to 12 months is where I want to be. More importantly, is closer to God. And I'm not just saying that just because, you know, I'm reading right now the John C. Maxwell Bible as well. It's the big Bible, and it's, you know, him breaking down scripture and how leadership all comes from the Bible, from John C. Maxwell. So I'm excited getting into that. My wife actually gifted that to me, I believe, for Father's Day or so. And that's my next journey. That's what I'm most excited about right now over the next 6 to 12 months. So, you know, I'm praying and hoping that, not hoping because I know that it will, but for me, my wife, and my family to get closer to God and to do more of what he needs us to do out here. And what's so perfect is the fact that we're in alignment with what he needs us to do anyway, right? What he wants us to do anyway. I feel like with World Ventures, that's just who we are. You know, we are about more fun, more freedom and fulfillment, more life, more helping. I mean, look, we're going to build schools where we're helping people get off the streets. We're helping people in relationships. We're helping people financially. We're helping people with less stress, you know, like more opportunities, so many different things. We're helping people and open up doors because of this company. But again, that's why we always say that you know, God has his hand on World Ventures. You know, this is feel like the only way that I always joked about it years ago and always said if World Ventures wasn't here anymore, it's because the world was about to end. There's no way that this won't be here because I feel that strongly about it. So the next 6 to 12 months, you know, I want to make sure that I'm doing my best to live in his image. I'm doing my best to fulfill who I need to be. I'm doing my best to be who I am, right? And to the best ability that I can do that in. I'm looking to have a stronger relationship with my wife, my son, my moms, my family, my friends, right? And leadership and all. Of course, throughout the whole process, the work is going to be there. The effort is going to be there. The business building is going to be there. Leadership is going to be there. You know, the new leaders rising up, the new ranks being popped. Like, that's all going to be there throughout the process. But I know that it's going to be 10 times more the more that I work on me, the more that I get closer to him, the more that I'm able to lead people in the right direction, right? That's when things are going to get better. So the next 6 to 12 months for me is not income goals. It's not, you know, and I have those. I have income goals. You know, I have rank goals. I have, you know, goals on everything that I want to accomplish. But over time, those are goals that I've made. And whether I hit them or didn't hit them, it didn't make me feel fulfilled yet. That wasn't it. You see, because again, as we all know, is that you ever wanted to eat something, and you're like, oh, you're craving it, and you're so excited for it. But then when you get it and you take a few bites, you're like, right? Or you ever wanted to reach a goal and you're like, I gotta hit it, I gotta hit it, I gotta hit it. And then when you do, it's like, okay, next. Because again, the prize, Martin Ruoff, IMD, $1 Million Earner, he has a talk that is called The Prize is in the Journey or something like, right? So, and it's in the books and everything else that it talks like the journey, the prize is in the journey. You see, we are more excited about the work that we're gonna do to get to that point. You get me? So I'm all more excited about the person that I'm gonna become rather than the rank I'm gonna hit. So all these other times I had these rank goals and these income goals, but I didn't have an internal goal. Where do I want to be? How do I want to feel? You know, what's gonna, because income, you can have $100,000 in the bank and maybe it makes you happy. What, I don't know, but that's not going to change certain things. That may change what you wear, where you eat, but that's still limited. That's still like, what does it change within you, right? So that's what I have to really realize, that, okay, cool, this is that, all that other stuff is great and we're going to get it anyway, but that wasn't the main source. That wasn't who I needed to be. And next 6 to 12 months, I want to just be more of me, right? And what do I mean by that? Just still be transparent. Because again, at times of me building this business, I look to say conform in a sense, you know, because then at times you want to change and be like, let me be a little softer here. Let me be a little easier here. And then I don't want anybody to get it confused and say, all right, conform and just, water yourself down to that, what Jay-Z said, right? I had to dumb down my lyrics just to double my dollars, right? Like, no, I'm not saying to do that, but I realize that I'm in my space when I'm being as real as I can be, right? So the next 6 to 12 months, that's what I want. That's what it's going to be. Yes, I will be IMD in the next 6 to 12 months too, just to let you all know that. Yes, that is still part of the goal, and or the main goal when it comes to, say, income or rank. Another thing is we accomplished one of the goals that we had on our vision board. It's funny because we had a goal on our vision board for some time now, and it was to live in Florida in a 4-bedroom home with a pool and whatnot in a 2-car garage. And what's funny is we actually made that happen August 1st. And then I ended up finding that gold card that I wrote that on throughout when we packed and put our stuff away. And I always read in these books that you find, like, you know, where they find a vision board that they made 20 years ago, and then it's the same house that they living in and whatnot. And I'm like, wow, that's dope that happens. And then that happened with us, where by moving and whatnot, I found what I wrote down. And today we're living in Orlando, Florida, 4-bedroom home, 3 baths, like, you know, pool, you know, 2-car garage, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is only by the grace of God. This is only, of course, also by putting it out into the world. They said that you have not because you ask not, right? So you got to ask for these things. You got to speak it into existence. You got to write it down. But more importantly, you got to show them that you're worthy, that you're putting in the work, that you're putting in the effort, and that you are changing as a person, because he's not going to give us these things if we're still the same person. It just doesn't make any sense, because if it was like that, then everybody would have all the great things, right? So again, you know, the goals are important, and we do have them written down, and there's so much more. But again, I want so many people to be here in that space with us. You know what I mean? So the next 6 to 12 months, that's where we'll be. We want to help so many people as well get to the same levels. And yeah, that's where I'm at with it right now. But again, you want me to close out? You want me to keep going just from there?
Whatever's on your heart. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.
Yes. Look, guys, the view from the edge. Whew, that event right there, best event of the year. And I'm not just saying that just because it's the next one. I'm saying that because of the fact that the production that's put behind it, the time and effort and energy that's put behind this training event is unlike no other. And the reason why it's the best training is because, you know, we respect and love Mark Cassetta, our director of training, for the time he puts into this. Well over 20 characters, you know, doing it all on his own. I mean, literally, he is the GOAT. He's the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James of this industry, right? So, yeah, I had to throw that in there, the LeBron James. Shout out to the Lakers and Miami Heat. Damn, hold that L down. But, the view from the edge, guys, my first view from the edge, that training event we went to, Trina and I, right? That's our most expensive training. That training event is about $600 per ticket, right? So my wife and I, being we're both building this business, being we both are leaders and we both are building separate positions, and she never missed a training, neither does I. It's never even a question. It's never a question whether one goes or not. No, we're both going. So that first time we went to the view, remember, I walked away from the street. So by October, money was running really low, right? So World Ventures money didn't start to kick in yet. You know, we was just senior rep at the time, and it wasn't starting to kick in, but that was okay. But the view from the edge was coming up. We couldn't afford it. We didn't have the money. Like, we had enough money for one of us, but it wasn't a question whether one was going or not. We both had to be there. The view from the edge, man, making it to that event, you know, I actually, I sold the TV that I had at the time. I sold the PlayStation, wasn't using it anyway. I sold a few things, and the point is that I made it happen, and we made it to that event, you know, and it realized that I see so many times that people aren't willing to sacrifice. But I mean, is TV time a sacrifice? Is playing the game a sacrifice? Is any of that? No, that's not real sacrifice. You know, that's just pleasure. That's something that isn't doing anything for us anyway. So I got rid of those things. And by making that event, what I will tell you is this. We went to that training event with 8 of us. It was a total of 8 of us that went to that event. All 8 of us that went to that event are still part of the company today, 6 years later. The 8 of us that went to that event are all residual earners today, 6 years later. Us going to that event, what I would tell you is this: things impacted us, you know, on a major level, because it touches you inside. Like, literally, this gets deeper than just the outer area. This is, Marcus said, is going to dig deep inside of you, and so you can know who you are, right? So the view from the edge is a training that's unlike no other. Coming out of that training event, we came to the next event with 36 of us. And again, it just continued to grow. So it went from 8 to 36. So you realize what that training has done for people. The view from the edge right now is going to be online. You don't got to fly anywhere. You don't got to, like, when we go to these training events, we spend thousands of dollars to get here. When you're talking about flights, hotel stay, training ticket. And again, it's an investment. You're investing in yourself and in your business anyway. And I would never, and I would do that 10 times over if we had to. I don't care what the view costs. I'm in there. It doesn't matter. Right now, we have this event, October 23rd to the 25th. I believe that's the weekend. It's $150 for this training event, where you're going to get to watch this from home, from the comfort of your home, like in your PJs if you wanted to. I still get dressed because I like to feel like I'm there, right? You know, but you're going to be able to watch this from home. You're going to be able to watch this with family. Like, you may have a family member in your house that's not part of World Ventures yet. Hey, bring your ass downstairs. Sit right here. You need to see this. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'll be damned if I'm in the house and there's people not in work. Now, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to tie you up to the chair. I'll glue your eyes open to have you, force you to watch it. But you're going to watch it. You're going to watch some of this event. You ain't going to disrespect that. Like, you just going to walk around the house and just not see it. God, if you're in the house with people that's not in World Ventures, sit them down and have them see something. Have them see one skit, right? Because this training event, you never know what it can do for them. I've seen this event, this one event alone, change people's lives drastically. I got people that came to this event that's never been to a training, that this was their first training event. They're only still part of the company because they went. That person today met his wife in the company. That person today has 2 children because of this company. And my wife and I are the godparents to his daughter, Senior Rep Isaiah Batts, in the company. Another friend of ours named Fred that has 2 children because he met his wife in the company too. So I'm not telling you that these trainings come with kids. But what I'm saying is that, what if they didn't come to that training? What if I didn't push them a bit to make sure that they did spend the money to get there? I'm not responsible for them having their children, but that connection was made because they put themselves in a position for it to happen. You get me? There's new life in the world because I said yes, because I showed my friend, and because I said, you need to come to this training event with me. Life has been created because of that. Marriage has been created because of that. And we're not doing God's work? You kidding me? The view from the edge, promote it like no other. Everybody needs to get to this event. Guys, we have memberships from $25 to $1,000 today. A lot of people are selling a $25 membership today, which is great. Sell what you can. Sell every membership we have to offer, right? But if people are getting in at $75 and we are not getting them registered for $150 to the training event right away, you are building your business backwards. You are not building for the future. You are not building it for them. If you are signing people up and you are allowing them to just grab whatever membership they choose, but you are not showing them that they need to get the training, then you are only doing this for a cycle. You are only doing this for rank, and you are only doing this for residual and for yourself. And why do I say that? Because by you signing someone up, that does nothing for them. That does nothing for them. Just because they got a back office, a website, that don't do anything for them. You see, like we always say, You know, it's not when you get into World Ventures that changes. It's when World Ventures gets into you. And the only way that World Ventures can get into anybody is through our training system. It's the only way. It's the main way. I'm sure Pam told you her story. You all know it. It's training. My story, it's training. Jay Pesos, June, Valerie Acosta, J.A. Wynn. It's training, training, training. Not because they cycled 50 times in the first week. Not because they hit a level. Not because they hit a rank. It was all because of the training. And the only reason why they did those things is because of training anyway, right? So if we know the main source is through the training system and getting them there, why aren't we doing our best to make sure that they did that? See, we will set them up to fail if we don't promote this training event every single day. I have it up here on my board right here. I have even to the thing where it's promote WV Power Start every single day. That's the Saturday training, the free one. Promote that every day. So if I'm promoting that, why we won't promote the View every day? The View from the Edge is going to be the training event, I believe, that shifts your business, your life, and you may not notice it today. You know, we always say things happen for a reason, right? And we never really know until you connect the dots, like Pam said about John C. Maxwell, right? The only way we can fix the path by connecting the dots, right? So by you getting these people to the training event, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, a year from now, or 5 years later. But when you look back, you're going to say, it's because of the View. It's because of the decision that I made at that event. It's because I got these people here. You see, so have patience. Don't just look for you want the results right away. You want to go to train and get people there and you want results the next day. No, it's not about that. But again, if you don't get anybody there, how are you going to get them anyway? You want people to change their lives? It's $150. $150. When you talk to your teammates, you talk to them on the phone, you ask them the question and say, real quick, let me ask you this. Do you have $150 right now to invest in yourself and your future? Simple yes or no. No anything else. Do you have $150 to invest in you, yourself, and your future and your family right now? Yes or no? Now, when they say yes, perfect. I'm going to send you the link. We need to get you registered for the View. This is going to change everything. If you want what you say, that's the key to that door. They're not going to say no at that point because they just said that they had it, right? Now, if you do get a person that says, nah, I don't got it, but I wish that I did. Okay, cool. So Pam, see, this is where we need to change something. See, this is where we need to take action because you do want your life to change. You do want more for you and your family, right? Yes. If I threw you a life vest and you was drowning, would you grab it? Yes, right? You ask them these questions. So when they say, yeah, I do, cool. So what are we going to do that's going to help you get $150 to make it to this event? Are you in your house right now? Look around, find something that you don't need, right? Borrow the money. It's Cash App nowadays. It's Zelle. You can quick pay. 50, 50, 50. 3 family members. I need 50, 50, and 50. I'll give it back. But don't tell me we can't find a way. So call them. Call everybody. Do you have $150? These are people in your business. You have $150 to invest in you, your future, and your family right now. Yes or no? They're either going to say yes or no. And if they say yes or no, they both work in your favor and theirs. Yes, you get them to the training. No, you get them into action. You get them into results. You get them to help others. But nobody's picking up the phones. Nobody's asking people to come. Nobody's showing people how to book the training events like we used to. Because again, you see at Pam, you know this. Back in the beginning, 5, 6 years ago, we used to tell people, if you don't come to training, we don't work with you. You don't come to the event, we're not working with you. And of course, we could have handled that a bit better, right? But again, could we have? I don't know. See, because nowadays, we're at a point where we're like, oh, if you don't come to training, it's cool. Let's go hang out together. Let's go party together. Let's go do this. Let's go do that, right? Nah, you got to surround yourself around those that have the same behaviors that you want to accomplish. So if you're a reader and you listen to audios, you go to trainings, you want to surround yourself around those same exact people. Because if you're surrounding yourself around people that think training is not needed or don't want to come or don't want to attend, then guess what's going to happen with you eventually? You're going to be the same person like them and not attend, and then you'll be out of the business. Don't take this for granted, guys. Don't be afraid to ask somebody to invest in themselves, to invest in their future. It's ridiculous. Okay? The worst they're going to say is, no, I ain't got it. You keep moving forward. You love them, love on them, but you got other people that need your time. Your time is valuable, and you got to protect your time, your energy, and your space, and give it to those that are willing to take their life to the next level. So, the View from the Edge, WV Event Reg, I seen Sonia and everybody else put it in the links below. Book that ticket. Book that training event. You get me? Because, and you know how we're going to understand too that we got so much, that you guys got value out of this? When I see people take action and I see others get booked for the training. When I see others post up like, oh, I just booked the training. Oh, I just did this. Or I got more people booked. That's how we know, too, that this call was able to give you guys the value. Because if we end this call today and we don't go and get other people booked for training event today and take action right now, what's the chances of it happening tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday? Slimmer to none, right? So take action today immediately. There's no reason why we can't. You know what? Today, I'm going to get more people booked for training event as well. The View from the Edge, I will post it. I will send it to Pan, and Pan could get it inside of the group chats that you guys are all in together, so I can show you that I'm going to lead, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to go first, because as a leader, that's what we always should do. Go first, stay consistent, don't quit, don't slow down, and lead the pack.
Sheesh. Oh, my God. Thank you so much. You have beyond blessed us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. This has been your Breakfast Club call for this morning, October 1st. Way to start the fourth quarter. And my add, this is the best month of the year. Great morning, great day, happy day. Let's go kill it. Thank you again, Noel, for blessing us, guys. The recording will be up by the end of today. Thank you guys so much. Great day and God bless. Let's get it. Thank you again, Noel.
No doubt. Anytime.